Can go ahead and start.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I guess we're joining from all around the world. I'm Neela Majumdar and I am with earthday.org. As you know, yesterday was the International Day of Education, and we've been partnering with the Learning Planet to do the Learning Planet Festival. This year, it's from the 24th till the 28th. And we are competing. There are some 600 events happening during these days. And so, of course, we're competing for eyeballs with a whole bunch of other programs. But as you can see, we've started recording. So on our social media handles, we will put up say the YouTube link, for example, if others want to join. So without much ado, let me just explain that Earth Day is also coming up. It's on April 22nd, and we call it the largest civic movement in the world. We basically mobilize people around the environmental movement, and the theme this year, as it was last year, is invest in our planet. And we want everyone, whether it's governments, NGOs, individuals, schools, academic institutions, everyone to do something for the environment, because investing in our planet is basically investing in ourselves. And we believe we can do this in such simple ways. The 5 pillars that we want to focus on is, of course, climate literacy, which is why we're part of the Learning Planet Festival. It's also things like ending plastic pollution, protecting our species, restoring our earth. And we even have the theme sustainable fashion this year, along with the green economy. You might be wondering why we chose the name Earthpreneurs. It was an event that we came up with last year to commemorate Earth Day, where we launched a contest for college students, basically asking them to come up with green and sustainable solutions for the climate crisis, for the green economy. And we had a lot of responses. And this year we are launching the theme once again. And the theme this year is going to be more specific, more focused. It is on sustainable fashion. So we like to call all these young students and youth who are very much empowered, who are taking climate action, young earthpreneurs. And we're delighted, Ritu, to be partnering with ARCedtech for this wonderful panel. And you've brought together people from all over the world. Ritu, just to introduce you, you are part of ARCedtech, with whom we have done the Global Sustainability Awards, which awards schools, teachers, as well as students who are basically incorporating the sustainable development goals in their schools, in their classes, and in their studies. And we really believe that climate literacy is so important that yesterday one of our youth ambassadors, Johnny Dabrowski, has sent across an open letter that he's hoping that everybody will sign. It's basically to get climate literacy mandated by all the ministers of education around the world, so that climate literacy, which is basically climate education, which leads to civic engagement action, because we want youth to be stewards for the environment, that it is mandated in all classes, in all schools around the globe. So thank you, Ritu, for organizing this wonderful panel today. And we really look forward to a wonderful discussion with all of you. So just to say that Ritu is a founder of a social impact startup integrating SDGs and climate education. And Ritu, would you like to take it forward and explain what today's theme is all about?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Neela. Thank you so much for this warm introduction. Welcome everybody to this panel discussion. I'm fortunate to be moderating this with an illustrious and diverse panel from different parts of the world who were kind enough to make time in the different time zones they're present in and be here for this panel discussion. I am the founder, as Neela said, I'm the founder of ARC. We are into integrating sustainability, climate education, and global citizenship in school curriculum across the world. We do it through books, through teacher workshops, through a digital platform, and through Global Sustainability Awards. So I would like to start this discussion with a quote and set the tone for the panel discussion. We cannot always prepare a future for the youth, but we can always prepare the youth for the future. So this is a tagline which is very close to my heart. It is a quote by a well-known personality. And that is exactly what we are doing. So we know where the world is headed. We know that climate change is a reality. We know that sustainability is not a choice. And we need to prepare. It is the need of the hour to prepare the youth for that. And when we envision the future, there are two aspects we cannot ignore: sustainability and entrepreneurship. It is very important to talk to every child about their social responsibility, about the future, and prepare them for it. And that's what this panel discussion is going to focus upon. It's called Earthpreneurs. So we want to prepare change makers, and we can do it by meaningfully integrating sustainability into the education system all across the world, which all of us are working towards. So I would like to introduce the panel today. We have Andrea Pereira with us. She's the founder of Give Back from Portugal. It's an organization that's dedicated to making sustainability a way of life, working in different sectors. Also, we have with us Puneet Datta. He's the founder of ARCedtech. It's an organization that makes edible cutlery and other items, and Puneet will talk more about that. We have Manpan from Nigeria with us. He's the founder of Itzinia, and it's an incubator for sustainable entrepreneurship, and he's working extensively with the youth in Nigeria. And we have Michael Dobby with us. He's the founder of Chitta Foundation, famous for the iconic school in the desert of Jaisalmer, which everybody identifies him with. So of course, it's very nice to have you all. Thank you for being here today. And with this note, I will start the discussion now. So Andrea, my first question will be to Andrea here, who's the founder of Give Back. Andrea, we understand that it's important for businesses to have sustainability as a core value, be it looking at their profit margins or value proposition for their customers. But what are the challenges? You work with a lot of organizations in Portugal. So what are the challenges these organizations face in their journey towards sustainability? And how can they overcome these challenges?
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you all. It's an honor for me to be part of this amazing panel. So I think that the most difficult thing for these organizations is that whenever we talk about sustainability, we're changing the way they used to do things. And that connects to the center of the human being. And it's how humans are so afraid of change, and they are so afraid of doing new things, or they are so afraid of doing things in a different way. So I think that the first thing that I would say big challenge we find in every company is that they don't understand, they don't know what to do, they are confused, but most of all, they are scared. They're scared because they believe it's not going to be possible. So when we start working with them, the first thing we talk to them is about a sustainability journey. Because if they really want to be sustainable corporations, this is a journey, right? Anyone who wants to be a teacher or who wants to be a doctor, you don't become the doctor the next day, right? You go to school, you go to university, you educate yourself, you change your habits. It is a journey. So sustainability, it's not something that you have, the mother fairy tale that comes and says, bibbidi bobbidi boom, now you're sustainable, and from now on you are sustainable. That's not how it happens. So it takes a lot of work for companies to understand what are they doing, what's their impact on a social, environmental, and economical impact. How do they change the way they do things so that they get into this sustainable way of being? I always say that sustainability, it's not it's a way of walking through life. You walk through your life sustainably. Companies should walk through their lives sustainably. Companies should do business sustainably. To do that, this needs to be inside of each and every one of their employees, because they start as putting sustainability as a department. So now you have someone who is this weird guy, right, that talks to the trees and comes into my office, and whenever I want to do a project, he wants me to do this, that won't work. And I saw that happening with innovation, and I saw that happening with other stuff throughout my over 30-year career with big corporations. It doesn't work like that. So people need to be educated on sustainability so that the way they treat things in their daily lives is through a sustainable way. Everything from accounting to buying to producing to distributing. So every time they find something different company-wise, they look at it from a sustainable way. That's why I believe the work that's being done in ARC is so much more important, because we're not only educating these kids and bringing up a generation that will bring this sustainable look to everything already there, but there's an urgency to educate adults, and adult education is something that will come to the table very strongly around sustainability. How we relearn, how do we rethink, how do leaders of today look at their businesses? And yes, we are moving their cheese, and yes, it's something different, and they will be very uncomfortable, but it's very needed for a big change.
Thank you, Andrea. I think you raised a very important point here. I have also spoken to some heads of some businesses, and they say it's easy to change your manufacturing, bring it into the vision of your organization, but the most difficult part is the change in the behavior of consumers. Because unless the consumers change, you cannot bring the real change in the organization, and that will begin with education, as you rightly said. Thank you so much. And I think social entrepreneurs are now doing a great job of setting a good example to show how businesses can be run. And we are fortunate to have Puneet Datta with us, who is a social entrepreneur, and he's chosen the less trodden path. And Puneet, if you just talk about your journey a little bit and tell us what motivated you to become a social entrepreneur, and how can we motivate more and more children to adopt that way of life?
I really appreciate. Thank you for your time, Ritu. I'll take you back to 2013. That's the time when things started changing. Everyone has triggered moments. Everyone has wow moments in their journeys. I had one of them, or rather two of them, on the same day. So I saw River Yamuna, one of the rivers in India, highly polluted, was flooded with styrofoam plates. And I thought I could do something. First thought that came in my mind, let me put this on Twitter. Let me tweet this, let me tag everyone, let me make a noise about it. And then I thought, look, it sounds like cribbing about it. Am I a part of solution, or am I just cribbing a problem? Then I thought, no, let me put it to the Prime Minister of India. I couldn't stop myself from putting it on the internet. Then I thought after a few seconds, look, let me find out a solution. Sorry, that's the time the journey started. And I started researching if we can manufacture something wherein the manufacturing process is sustainable, the raw material is sustainable, and there is no waste generated, and the technology is easily deployable, highly scalable, and can produce the product. And finally, after the research for 6.5 years, we started a company called ARCedtech. Now, what ARCedtech does is, ARCedtech manufactures edible cutlery using jaggery. So guys, it is not baked, causes zero air, water, soil, and noise pollution. So there is no pollution of any kind in the manufacturing process. When it comes to raw material, jaggery is one of the most sustainable products nowadays available in India and other parts of the world as well. Now, there are two different ways to manufacture jaggery, and the most sustainable way is without any furnace. So they don't burn the sugarcane oil, or they do not burn the sugarcane juice at all without using the fire. So they just melt it and make jaggery out of it. So this was the journey of starting the process or product. As Ritu mentioned, the major challenge is on the consumer side. You come up with a product, consumer agrees to take it or not. That's where the most interesting part of the journey took place. What we did is we started speaking to many people on the ground. There has been so much talks about sustainability, United Nations sustainability goals, carbon footprint on the internet, on social media, white papers, research papers, everything is available. But the local man on the ground has no idea what to do. Literally no idea. Now, instead of making them aware and then giving them a product to use, we decided give them a product which will work as a tool, and they will just use it, and all the social values, environmental values, and health values will follow. So the first product we picked up was single-use edible cup. Drink the tea, drink the coffee, eat the cup. You eat it, you get some health value, you get some social value, and you have some environmental values attached to it. And then there are economic values attached to it as well. So the manufacturers are making money out of it. The consumer gets the health value, the environmental values attached to it. If you do not eat it, more you throw, your sustainability actions will increase more, because sustainability is living close to the nature. And when we say living close to the nature, living close to all the other living beings on the planet. So moment you start throwing them, all the other living beings will eat that up. It contains no color, no preservatives, no chemicals. It's a pure jaggery and grain-based product. So this is what we have come up with. In terms of giving education, that's really great, but giving experience-based learning to someone which will leave a deeper and better impact on the mindsets of these young minds in coming future. So this is brief about the product and the journey.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm sure listening to your story, a number of young people who will be watching us today will get inspired to innovate and work towards the betterment of the planet. Thank you so much for sharing this. Now, Manpan is working on the other side. He's trying to get more and more people who are maybe unemployed, who do not know what to do with their lives. This is essentially the youth in Nigeria he's working with. And he's trying to inspire them to work towards sustainability focused entrepreneurship. So Manpan, what are the challenges you have faced? Why is it difficult, do you think, to inspire the youth to work towards sustainability in developing nations, in developing economies? Maybe there are too many problems which are more pressing for them. And why is it important also at the same time to inspire the youth in developing economies to work towards sustainability?
Thank you very much, Ritu, for that or those questions. And thank you, fellow panelists, for your interesting discussions so far. I am in Africa, in Abuja, in Nigeria, one of the most populous countries in the world. And the challenges are numerous. And so when you talk about sustainability and why it's difficult to convince people to talk about sustainability in Africa, I think the easiest answer that comes to my mind is their reality. Their reality is a contextual situation that they cannot ignore. There's a lot of hunger in their situation. There's a lot of unemployment. Unemployment in my country right now is over 40%, which is huge. And youth unemployment is ranging around 60%. And when I started talking to young entrepreneurs about business, it was basically because of this. We felt that there were so many people out of jobs trying to find government jobs. And we sat down in my office every day and complained about it. Why are youths seeking jobs and not doing something for themselves. And we said, perhaps they should start businesses. The moment we kept complaining about this, we realized that we could also be the answer to our suggestions. Why don't we help the young people start the businesses? And before long, we realized that if we are just starting businesses just to find jobs and just to create employment, we're probably going to be part of another bigger problem, because business for profit alone is not good enough. And looking at the sustainability issues that come up with many businesses, there was the need to change the mindset. And the second issue that we realized was that there is a misconception about sustainability. When you talk about sustainability in Nigeria or in Africa, I just came out of a session with entrepreneurs now. We were talking about how to build better world businesses that are about sustainability and about improving the quality of life on Earth. And some of the entrepreneurs were actually restating these facts, which is to say, sustainability sounds like an elitist thing. It sounds like when you've solved all your other problems, then now you can come up and talk about sustainability, because for them, there is hunger, there is unemployment, and you're talking about taking care of the trees. It doesn't make really good sense to them. And so I think the challenge is the lack of education there. And we felt that there was a need to educate people about sustainability, give them a clearer idea about what sustainability means. When we talk about the SDGs in the context of sustainability, I see eyes popping in the class. I see people saying, oh, I didn't know that these issues are really sustainability issues. I thought sustainability was only an issue of climate change. And so I think the lack of proper information or the misconception that they came in with begins to move out of their minds, and then they begin to imbibe a new way of thinking. And this is really where, as you said, the opportunity is. We need to do this because therein in sustainability, you find a lot of opportunities. Because if you look at the statistics around, it is already being stated that the issue of ecosystem restoration creates at least 3.7 more jobs than, issues of petrol and other things. If you're in petrol and gas, ecosystem restoration creates 3.7 more jobs. If you look at building efficiency, it produces 2.8 times more jobs than if we're just talking about conventional construction. So there are a lot of opportunities in sustainability that we can take advantage of. And the unemployment crisis, we can use sustainability-focused entrepreneurs to help to solve the unemployment crisis, because I personally also believe that without entrepreneurship, unemployment will continue to be on the rise. Then there's also another thing that Africa needs to learn from the West. Essentially, it is about jumping the learning curve. We don't have to make the same mistakes that have been made in the past before we understand that we need to be more sustainability focused. We can see some of the challenges arising from manufacturing, some of the challenges arising from extractive activities, and also learn from that and say, how do we create businesses in such a way that we do not destroy the planet? And we should also be thinking about the common good. What is good for you is also good for me. I shouldn't just be thinking about myself. I was reading something from Megatrends recently, and they said in the next 10 years, 250 million people will be on the move because their communities will be submerged due to flooding and the melting of the Arctic ice. These are environmental challenges that is going to affect people, and that migration is going to cause another set of disaster elsewhere. These people need to migrate to another community, and this means essentially uprooting yourself from where you are to a different environment. If something is not done, this will be the nature of living on the planet long term. So we are trying to help the young entrepreneurs imbibe a new culture. It's easier to start a business with a sustainability mindset than to change a corporate company that has already established itself with millions and billions of investment in machineries. It's difficult to make them change how they do business and to come back to sustainable business practices. So for us, these are the reasons why we do this. We feel that there is an opportunity in sustainability, and entrepreneurs should better take advantage of that. We feel that it is for our common good, and everybody needs to put hands on deck to make this happen, so that we don't cause more problems while trying to solve other problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Manpan. Very noble views, I would say here. You raised some very important and pertinent points. Yes, sustainability is often misunderstood. It's considered an elitist concept, which it is not. So it is important to provide the right information to the youth of today. And as you said, sustainability is an unexplored territory. So there is a lot of potential there for new businesses. And it's important. And of course, decent work and economic growth, goal number 8, towards which you're working, is the focus of the work that you do. So we have to inspire more and more people to work towards the betterment of planet and to get into this unexplored territory and improve the way we have been functioning. Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. I'll now move to Michael. Michael, thank you for waiting so patiently. So Michael is the creator of the iconic Rajkumari Ratnavati School in Jaisalmer, which is a school. It's a free school for the girl child in Rajasthan. Michael comes from the US. So Michael, what was your inspiration for creating a sustainable school? And it is a fully sustainable school. If for those of you who are not aware of it, the building is created in such a manner that it's in the middle of a desert. Still, it doesn't require any air conditioning, not even fans, the way it is created. It's a very innovative creation. So Michael, what was your inspiration for creating a sustainable school for the girl child in Rajasthan? Given your background, where you come from, what got you here? And what is the message for the world in this initiative?
Oh, wow, what a big intro. Thank you, Ritu. And it's interesting to hear all these different stories from the panelists. I want to thank them for all their points of view. It helps me to understand more about different aspects of sustainability, because I'm basically in that one area where I was doing development work, and mostly schools, hospitals, women's cooperatives. But when I went into the Jaisalmer region, the geography already came with the environmental challenges. They have a real lack of water and a history for very kind of difficult challenges to sustain their lives with the lack of water. So that kind of raised the entire issue of sustainability and how to create a space that was sustainable. So I think that set the tone. So that kind of perked a lot of interest in sustainability, which I hadn't had previously. So that challenge, I think, brought that to light. So when the architecture came and we started to discuss the designs and everything, like we worked, the sun is so prolific there. So solar was the way to go. And then there's the center of the courtyard. We built a huge cistern that can house 100,000 liters of water. So when there's a short rain period in the desert, the whole building works as a funnel and brings all the water to the center. So we have supply of water. And the stone is all local stone. And it was beautiful to work with anyway. So I think this project shows that there is, like, we're all talking about the challenges of getting people to work with sustainability or people to change their ideas of how to create sustainability. But I feel like this project is, we did sustainability because it was the most responsible and easiest way to go. And also it's been the thing that really convinces people to donate. Companies, I'm in Bangalore, India right now, talking to a lot of corporations, and they're so happy to hear that we're doing sustainable work. And the project has that, it piques their interest. So all the things we're talking about, I think it is possible. I think it's possible to try to figure out what local resources you have, how to make it sustainable with the environment you're in. And then the other level of that is the school itself. So then we have kids there that we're going to teach sustainability to. And I think, like you're saying, that imbuing them with being tools and agents for the future is kind of the experiment we want to do in that region. And we're using a lot of things they do with sustainability in little ways, like they do in villages probably in Africa or in Europe or elsewhere in India, using things they do in a daily way and using that as a way to get them to understand sustainability on a larger level or in their lives, because we all do it out of need. So it doesn't need to be forced if you use that as a tool to get them to understand it. So this project, I think, was to teach the kids sustainability and give them literacy and sense of confidence and agency, but also the divine structure that was built, that kind of incredible circular iconic space, was to create dialogue both in India and the rest of the world about sustainability and the ease it can be if you do it in the right way. I think it helps people understand it doesn't have to be a struggle. It can actually enhance and create a more a much stronger project. I mean, I know it's a development project. It's not a business. But I'm hearing there's different challenges. So I was interested in hearing that. But in the development project, I feel like that this was the right route to go, because it just shows how that kind of sustainable responsibility can reflect in the world and the local region and communities. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. Your creation is a statement in itself. It inspires a lot of people. I know everybody knows about this school, and it really is the Taj Mahal of sustainability, I would say.
Thank you.
Because it inspires people across the world to work towards sustainability. Thank you for creating that. And now, of course, we all understand the challenges of being a social entrepreneur. We all have experienced it, and we are working with communities where we are trying to get them on this path. So given our own experiences of our own journey and of working with communities and people, so I would like to start with you, Andrea. What is your piece of advice? There are so many youngsters looking at us for inspiration. What is your piece of advice to the youth of today to embark on this path? So what would you like to tell them?
I would say, believe in your purpose, right? Find really what's your passion is about and work passionately behind it. And really, really don't give up. Don't give up, because there's so many things that in the past we would say, you might be ahead of your time, and there's so many things happening. And the other thing I would say is network, because there's so many people doing so many things around the world. You will find help, support, companionship, ideas, networking. Look for ideas everywhere. Don't try to be, put your egos aside. It's not about what I create, it's about what we create together.
Very interesting, Andrea. And if you could just tell them a little bit about your Do Your Part program also, which is creating a large impact, I know, on audience across the world.
So yeah, what we're doing is we're creating a movement. We know that a lot of the youngsters suffer from what we call sustainability anxiety, because as companies, they believe if they don't do everything, sustainably, they are not helping. So we are creating a platform that tells people that everything you do counts. And every little, initiative is worth doing. So we're calling it Do Your Part. And by doing your part, we mean how can we teach people or help people or support people doing sustainable things like showering with less water or using different ways to, buy soap. Is there a way that I can buy in sheets instead of buying the big bulks? How can I change tiny little things? Because people think that if I don't change everything, that I shouldn't do anything. And we believe that everything you do counts. So we're not only teaching, we're starting with 100 different ways of being sustainable, but we also hope we create a movement where people inspire each other, just like you guys did with the Sustainability Awards. When you see someone doing something great, you also want to contribute to that. So it is also a platform for people to show what they are doing in their communities and for communities to learn from other communities.
Thank you very much for sharing that. So as we say, when many small people do many small things in many parts of the world, it actually changes the world. And that's what we promote and inspire others to do. So I'll move to you, Puneet, now, and I will ask you, you got an idea, you got an inspiration. Where should youngsters look for inspiration when they want to innovate? Where can they find inspiration for innovation to change the world?
Two things. There has been a couple of interactions with young minds. We've been talking to various level of students, school kids till college researchers. A small observation I've noticed. They do not have this thought that I wish to do something or I wish to give something back to the nature. Now, as a couple of other speakers said, it is a part of curriculum now. They will learn it, they will implement it. Sustainability is a way of life, which is the natural way of living. So to find an inspiration to do something is right next to them. They should look around. Give you a simple example. A school kid called me the other day and he said, sir, I've seen your video on YouTube. I wish I could do something similar to you, or maybe I could do something for the mother nature. And I asked him, what is your daily routine? What do you do? And he said, I get up in the morning, I take my breakfast, go to school, come back, go to tuitions. And then after, I finish my day around 8:30 in the evening, I am done. And my mom says, beta, go to bed. Thank you very much. So then you have to adopt a few small steps. Start living closer to the nature, know all the other living beings around you. At least you should know how many dogs are there, how many sparrows are there, how many birds are there on your way to the school or around you, so that all the inspiration will be provided to you. At least become a recipient or become ready to receive the inspiration first, and then the inspiration will hit you. So he said, so what should I do now? I said, look, relax. Whenever you travel, via bus or maybe car, whosoever drops you to the school, keep watching how many trees are there, what is growing then on those trees, who is feeding them, how many birds are there, how many cats, dogs, or how many stray animals are there on the street, and how do they live. Spend some time, maybe 10-15 minutes in a day, and inspiration will come to you naturally. And once a natural inspiration comes to you, it will never fade away. You'll be motivated throughout your life, regardless of what age you are in. So that's the simplest way to get inspiration around.
Thank you. Thank you for putting it across so simply. Like said, every small action counts. You said we just have to live mindfully and observe what's around us, and we'll find inspiration because perhaps it lies within us. We just have to become aware of it. So Manpan, you have been doing a lot of work in this field, inspiring the youth, in fact. So how do you get them to channelize their energies for a cause? So how do you inspire the youth to do this? Like from doing nothing to doing something that's so meaningful?
I think it's the same thing that Puneet said. There's so much around us that we can learn from and that we can take inspiration from. But after working with entrepreneurs for 4 years without thinking about channeling or specifically working with sustainability, we had this session in our training module where we say, better world businesses. How do you build businesses that make the world better? And then every time we finish 24 sessions and we ask for feedback, I get like 90% of the participants say, the whole thing that stood out for me was better world business. The session was so inspirational that I realized for the first time that I shouldn't just be thinking about making money, but how to create a business that makes society better. And I was so encouraged by that. And that was why I deliberately decided, okay, now we need to focus on this area. And so we started Sustainable Innovation Enterprises to promote the initiative to help entrepreneurs to think in that direction. And we are encouraging them to see opportunities in every aspect of sustainability. And part of that is that we ourselves needed to align ourselves with a positive vision for the society and the environment, so we serve as an example. And so if you come to our incubator, it is designed in such a way that it inspires sustainability. We have hydroponic systems set up all around. We limit the use of electricity because we use solar power. We limit the use of water bottles because we use a common dispenser that you can actually refill your bottles and things like that. And most people come around and say, oh, this looks like Europe. It's different. I mean, it seems like you're thinking in a different way. And they ask, what is behind this thinking? And then you have the opportunity to demonstrate the long-term approach to value creation that is aligned with a sustainable economy to these people. And we want to also develop people with skills to work in an economy that is consistent with sustainable business creation. And so our aim is that by doing this, we can mobilize our community, we can mobilize even our customers and the authorities, the government, and even investors to join hands with us in what we are doing. But essentially, it starts with a simple mindset shift. I have seen people walk in and argue profusely against sustainability, and then over the months, they begin to make positive contributions to discussions around sustainability because their mindsets, something has happened, you know, because with good education about sustainability, people begin to think creatively and differently about the values that they hold dear to themselves. So for us, it's about changing the mindset and then eventually having people align with the values that are more important, which is society and environment. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So Manpan, it's very interesting that you say a lot of it comes from the environment people work in. So you create that sustainable environment for the entrepreneurs who join your program so that they get inspired by this environment. And of course, they generate more ideas and they become more creative as they go along. So Michael, you're providing that environment through your school. Yes. Now, I want to know what is more to it. The environment is a given in your case. So the environment is there, but it doesn't stop at the environment, as we all know. So you have to inspire educators, you have to get those children you're trying to educate into the school. So how is your experience of inspiring the educators to bring those values in the education system and going beyond just the building and building it into the teaching learning that happens at your school?
Well, Ritu, I think it's I think a lot of us have said is the same true for this project, and like this environment where it just inspires. I think a lot of what goes against sustainability is just unawareness of our use of materials, how we do things, how it affects the things around us. So I think a large part of it is just bringing awareness to to the students or the people we come in contact with, we talk to about the project is, you know, what we're doing gets them to think more about it. And when they think more about it, like Mom was saying, like they change their mind. So it's just a matter of time if somebody actually is confronted with the issue of, well, how do you do this? Or what is this, what waste comes from this? You know, things we never think about. Like in the days when we used to wear like furs, like sables and lynx. It's like they just thought they were beautiful. Nobody thought like, you know, 36 animals had to die for that coat. I mean, there's more awareness nowadays. And I think people are, you know, they think about it and then they're like, actually, that's not a very sustainable or productive idea. So I think the basic thing is get people to think about things more. And I think a lot of students, as you learn sustainability or you learn about sustainability, in an easy way to share it in your environments with people around you, like different shopkeepers, friends, things you see, because that kind of sharing those ideas and getting other people to become aware or awaken to the idea of sustainability is the way it's going to catch on. Because you are the tool. I remember years ago hearing, and I was studying different religions, and in Buddhism, they said one of the pillars in Zen Buddhism is choose right livelihood. And I was kind of like, what's that mean? You know, like, but it just stuck with me, right livelihood. It's like, pick something that you're passionate about, but it's also productive for the communities and it's also for the world. It's kind of like the more layers you can put onto your passion and how you engage the world, the more happy I think you will be, and the more aware of your impact on the world and your own life. And I think that just creates happiness. And I think that's really the goal we all would, sustainability and happiness. But so I think on the students, like we really try to, like I said, go in the micro level, the things they do in their life that's given in their culture, and use those to talk about larger issues, and then bring the world to them and say, this kind of thinking can be applied to everything around you and the things you do in your life. So it's that micro macro. You are the tool. You should try to work sustainably and maintain every aspect of your life. Try to keep aware of what you're doing and your impact on the earth. But also, you know, it needs to come from governments and products and companies. So have a demand that your products be more sustainable. Like, where is this coming from? You know, your Canadian, like I just use furs as an example, just because it's the last big target. But you know, there's a whole thing about Canadian goose coats, and like, you know, they started to show where those just pretty little fur wraps around the hoods came from. People don't think about it. You see a lot of educated people that are very sensitive, wonderful people wearing those. It has no idea. So it's just about education, not just students, but people in general, I think, in society, just bringing awareness. It's a little easier, I think, for the children in these villages to learn about sustainability through, like I said, their daily life, because a lot of the communities I work with are in poverty, so they have to be sustainable out of necessity. But don't make it just necessity. Make it an awareness of an engaged mind of why they're doing that. Why is your mother using this much water and not just that much water? So it's just about becoming more, not just educated, but sensitive to your impact. And I think that creates more awareness, and share that lightly with the people in your life and your demands when you buy things. And I think that helps share. It has a rippling effect. So if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sharing. Very, very relevant things you brought up. Yes, I would like to sum up today's discussion. I think very important points of discussion we had today. It is a behavior change that we are trying to bring. And we are trying to inspire the youth of today to work towards social entrepreneurship. And it can only, the first step always is education, as all of you have said. So it has to start with awareness, as Michael was saying. So education is that first step we need to start with. And of course, change in attitude is the second step. It comes with education. They feel inspired, they feel motivated to bring a positive change in the world once they're aware, and it converts to actions eventually. which will, of course, what each one of us is doing in our respective fields. So the journey to action starts with awareness, then the right attitude, and then converts to action. And that's the path we need to adopt. It starts with small action, as Andrea said, and as Puneet also reinforced, that you have to observe the environment mindfully, and then you can feel inspired to bring a change. What you find lacking, and of course, you will work towards it. And Manpan said the environment is very important for inspiration. And as Michael also added his views around it. So I think we have a very good discussion here about the youth to work towards sustainability, to be mindful of their surroundings, to find inspiration around them, and and like-minded people networking. I think, Andrea, the point that you brought up is very important. We think we're alone in this journey, but as soon as we start looking around, we'll find so many like-minded people. Like, all of us are connected now. We all started individually in our own separate domains, and that lends a lot of power to what we are doing. So I would like to end the discussion with this point, and over to you, Neela, to sum up now.
Thank you so much. In case there are any questions from the audience members, do put it in the question and answer box. I have tried to fill the chat box with other things I found relevant. Earth Day is coming up on April 22nd, and we would love to interact with all of you, to mobilize all of you to invest in our planet and come up with wonderful programs. You all are such wonderful, inspiring people that we would love you all to mentor youth, and I will reach out to you individually to figure out how we can do that. We are actually doing another program. I reached out to Andrea in Portugal, that we have our, because our youth are basically our future, and we want their voices to be heard. So we have a program called My Future, My Voice, and we've got more than 200 youth ambassadors across the world, and we have them in some 92 countries. So we're 8 short. So if you know the young environmental activists in your countries, do give me their details. I will reach out to them to be My Future, My Voice ambassadors. I put in the chat group also the link to the open letter, going to the COP28 presidency, as to why climate literacy is so important. So do sign on to that letter, and look out on our various social media pages, be it Learning Planet, be it Earth Day Network or earthday.org, to know about all the other campaigns. We have a number of more webinars to go. Do get onto the Learning Planet Festival platform. If you just search Earth Day, you'll all the other programs will pop up. And now that I have all your emails, etc., I will keep you informed of other interesting events. So do stay in touch. Thank you so much for joining us. It was an excellent panel, Ritu. Thanks to you, we got connected to such wonderful people as well. As you said, we're all like-minded people trying to find sustainable solutions. So all the best in all your efforts, and we're here to help you in any way we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Everyone, thank you.
Thank you.